we are live again on the Dirty and Driven Podcast. My name is James Devaney. I am your host on this fine, beautiful day. This is the show where we bring people to the blue-collar world and teach them how to kick ass. Our goal here is to gain, train, and retain solid, hard-working individuals in the construction trades. With a Z. I would like to introduce to you a man that some of you know, some of you may not, if this is your first time listening. A guy who maintains things. A guy who keeps the oil pumping through the veins of America. A guy who hails from the flat parts of northwestern Oklahoma next to the flat parts of Colorado, coming east to the also flat parts of north central Oklahoma. This is a man who's once said to have wrestled a 75-pound catfish from the bottom of Caw Lake. A man who is said to have started Coors Light beer. Some of you all know him as just Casey. But many of you know him as the notorious KCD.
Gotta bring me in.
Oh, sorry. Let me bring in the talented KCD.
How are you? Thanks for bringing me in.
Yeah.
Another glorious day.
Yeah, dude. Man, guys, today we just finished recording. Hell of a guest today. I don't know about you, Casey, but I was like, damn, this guy's awesome.
Man, back when I was 17, I'd sleep in as much as I could. My dad would be on my ass all summer to mow the lawn, and I'd claim that the mower wouldn't start all day. All I had to do was just push mow, just our little lawn. Then he would come home and he'd get it pull started on the first start. What'd you think of that? I had no ambition, no drive, nothing. I was just a lazy piece of crap.
Low T.
Yeah, I think, and that was the deal. I think if I would have got with a doctor and they would have tested my T levels, that could have been the problem.
Yeah, they didn't have the radio commercials back then for the men's clinics, huh?
No, I think I had low T because my joules didn't drop by then, so that's why I was low.
Yeah, you still had that high voice.
Yeah, it wasn't until I was 24, 25 till they finally dropped and my T levels just shot through the roof.
Oh, well, guys, if you're new here, this is the Dirty and Driven Podcast. We have fun on this show. Today, we had Evan Stuever, who you heard Casey say when I was 17, my dad be on my ass to push mow the lawn. Yeah, well, this kid is running a large construction company. And when I say running, I mean he's the owner. He owns it. He's owned it for 6 years. He's 17 years old, and he has currently 6 people working for him. And in the summers, he gets up to 12 guys working for him. That's a good sized crew, man. I mean, you can do a lot with that many people. There's a lot of guys that don't have that many people. So he's running the crews. He's doing the payroll and the billing and working jobs, bidding jobs. He's doing a lot of stuff, man. And getting to hear his story is pretty phenomenal, man. I say it in the show, but I can remember a few years ago, he was the guy that you call for little driveways and grading this and doing that, or little dirt jobs. And now he's up there with the players, bidding on government work and doing just wild stuff, just scaling a business. It's crazy at his age.
That's 6 to 12 people depending on hopefully you to keep them busy. That's a big responsibility to have for a 17-year-old.
Yeah, that's terrifying. I mean, it's whenever work starts getting slow and you go, where am I going to send guys next week? That's a scary thought.
Yeah.
But especially if work starts getting slow and you're like, man, I got 6 guys that I've got to make sure that their families eat. That's scary.
And by his account, he was 11 years old when he really started getting busy.
Yeah. He worked motocross and then he started doing, everything else, doing dirt for motocross, which we talk a lot about. And then he actually started looking at it as, okay, we can start a business.
Yeah. So compared to my 25 years old, he was 11 years old when his T levels, that means things were dropping and he was rocking and rolling at that age.
Yeah, dude. It's crazy how smart, one thing that people always think about is that and that was something I never even asked him was, what does your age have to do with it? Because I don't think of it. I don't look at him as a 17-year-old. I deal with him day-to-day business stuff here and there, and I don't think of him as just some young kid. I think of him as any other contractor I deal with. And that's a crazy thing to me is how mature you can be at any age. It's just dependent upon you. There's guys that are 50 years old that still act like they're 12 years old, and there's guys that are 15 years old that act like they're 50 years old. So,
well, age is a number, but the numbers don't lie. And like you mentioned, a 17-year-old doing what he does, that is an anomaly.
Yes. That's awesome. He's very mature for his age. So, today we had Evan Stuever on, and I think that you guys are really going to like that conversation. Please, 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 please share the show. Push it out to your friends. Just help get it out there. This kid's got an awesome story, and anybody who says kids don't want to work are liars, and they're full of shit, and they have never been around some of these guys that truly can make things happen. I mean, Evan's going places, mover and shaker of this town, and he's going to keep growing. I mean, he's 17 years old and he's accomplished what a lot of people couldn't in a lifetime. And so where do you go from there? I mean, sure, there's hardships and stuff like that could happen, but it's only up. I mean, that's great So, share it, push it out there. We'd really appreciate it. Like and subscribe to our stuff on YouTube, Spotify, Apple. Give us reviews. We really appreciate it when you give us reviews, stuff like that. Would you have something?
Yeah, and shout out to the mentors, role models that are there.
Yeah,
for your youth, especially because he's a direct reflection of his parents and his upbringing, man. So be there for those around you, man.
Yeah. This is just proof that people need good role models in their lives, and you can tell that he had a good upbringing.
Yes,
and still has. I mean, he's not even 18 years old yet. I mean, so we say had a good upbringing, like he's off on his own and all that. But I mean, he still has just great mentorship, and he's been taught how to work. So that's great that happens. I mean, it's really awesome. So just share the show, man. Like it. Give us a review. I think it's pretty cool what he said. Also, big announcement. Hold on. Casey, entertain the crowd.
Big announcement, too. Valentine's Day is coming up. I'm looking at killing time here. Valentine's Day is February the 12th. No, it's the fucking 16th. It's fucking February 14th. So keep in mind for the loved ones out there, get something special. Don't forget it. Don't be an a-hole. And if you're going to go celebrate Valentine's Day with your significant other, don't stay at your in-laws' house, man. Get a hotel room. Get something private to where you can really enjoy the time.
Dude, shut up. All right, guys. Look on YouTube if you're not. You see this right here?
Damn.
What am I wearing here, Casey?
It looks like you're wearing a ball cap that says Dirty and Driven on it.
Highly coveted, highly requested Dirty and Driven hats, many colors. Richardson's. We got a couple not Richardson's, but we got a lot of Richardson's on the website. Good hats. Check this. Beanie.
Oh, snap.
I know we're getting close to the end of cold season, but oh yeah, dude.
That thing's sharp.
Dude, yeah. Cotton ball on top. That way if you're running equipment and you have long hair, then the truck driver will tell you that he thinks you're some hot chick. Another beanie. Knitted. Oh yeah.
Damn, look at all the options.
Damn, there's colors on colors. So, yeah, guys, get online, get on our website. I posted them on a story the other day, and people lost their minds. So, they're up there. Support the show if you want to support it monetarily. That's a great way to support it. Also, consider dropping a tip in the tip jar if you haven't. $1, $2, $5, $10. Shirts, they're up there too on our website. And as always, if you want to implement a gain, train, retain plan in your business, you can hit us up. There's a work with us application on our website, and you can do that. And you can, we're looking for some more people to partner up with and start running that play and getting people in their doors and getting people trained up and getting people to stick around. So with that being said, here's the show.
Damn, starting right on time too.
Oh yeah, man. Oh yeah, hell yeah. When's that ever happened?
Never.
We always start we always say 10 and get here 15 minutes early, and then we always start 10, 15, 20, It just depends. Depends on the guest too. Sometimes the guests will tell us all their wild stories before we start.
Yeah.
But cool, man. Well, Evan, welcome to the show.
Well, thank you for having me.
Here, pull that mic up to you a little bit closer.
Okay.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, man. I don't know. I've been looking forward to this episode. I know just what I know about from working with you, and I know your dad a little bit, but I know there's a lot more to you than just that, and I've had a lot of questions that I've been wanting to ask you, so I'm glad we can finally sit down and talk about it all.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, shoot, man. Let's just start from square one, man. What tell the people a little bit about who you are and what you do.
Well, my name's Evan Stuever, and here in Ponca City, we own and operate a earthwork and concrete company. Do quite a bit around the area. I've been hard at it for about 6 years now, so.
Yeah, when you say you've been hard at it 6 years, how old are you?
I'm 17.
You're 17?
Yeah.
Hard at it for 6 years, 17 years old. So you were 11 years old when you started this.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
All right, man. So because your dad, he doesn't do construction. He's an eye doctor. So how at 11 years old did you not only get into the construction business, but you own the damn company?
Well, it started out first at the motocross track here in Ponca City. Had a dozer out there and tractor and, to do track maintenance, and kind of started out there just playing around, and then it became, small jobs here and there. People wanted, can you come fix this, do this? And it kind of went from there up on to, house pads, building pads, roads, now streets, and city jobs, state. We do about it all.
Yeah. So you start out at the motocross track. So how did you get involved with that? Did you grow up maintaining that? I know your dad's involved in Ambucks and they do the track stuff. Is that how he got involved in that, or where did that all start too? Well,
my dad's been doing it for 20 some years, maybe longer. I'm not exactly sure. So yeah, basically he does all the maintenance out there, and I kind of just went out in the evenings and helped him, and it kind of went from there, making new jumps, smoothing out areas, mowing, and that's how it started. So just the general maintenance to keeping a motocross track alive. So
yeah, so that's where you got your start, was the motocross track,
right? Yeah, and it went from there on to small jobs. Somebody wanted creek crossing fixed. I think that was one of my first projects, a creek crossing. Then it was a small driveway, spread a load of rock, stuff like that.
So whenever you were at the motocross track, did you guys own that equipment, or did the track own that equipment, or whose equipment were you running?
So my dad owns the equipment out there, the tractor, and it was an old case dozer, foot steer. Yeah, I don't know, it was probably 80s model. And so now we still got that same tractor, but we got rid of that dozer and upgraded. So yes, he did own the equipment.
Huh. So, okay, so he owned all that. And then did he do any sort of dirt work before the motocross track, or is that where he learned?
No, I don't think I ever had any experience doing dirt work before then, and he really doesn't ever get on the dozer. Occasionally he'll get on it to move it around, but he's not a operator, want to be considered an operator.
So how did he end up in that position though? Was he just the only volunteer that would do it?
Well, pretty much.
That's wild, dude. Okay. And because like a motocross track, this is another one of the things I've been wanting to talk to you about, because like I've listened to other guys that do motocross track stuff and things like that. I've heard them talk about building them, and there's a lot more to it than just like going out there and building some jumps with dirt and all that. I mean, it's an art. I mean, it's very technical and hard. You don't have plans and elevations and GPS models and stuff like that to go off of most of the time. It's truly just feel and finesse and what looks right, what feels right. And it's hard to do. And I can tell you that because one time my buddies and I tried to build our own four-wheeler track, and it ended up in a horrible disaster. We had jumps and those little speed bump things where you do that. And we didn't know what the hell we were doing. It ended up in one dude getting a really, really bad wreck. But comes with the turf, I guess. That's what happens whenever you give 16-year-olds unlimited access to farm equipment. But
Yeah. Well, a lot of it, use common sense on, and what looks right, seeing how, it takes a good teacher. What, looks right, and, you'll get yelled at countless times until you finally get something right, and then you'll still get yelled at. But, safety is the number one thing at a motocross facility. Because if something's not safe, what's the point in doing it? Yeah.
So do you ride motocross?
I used to. I don't anymore.
So would you build or maintenance the track, and then would you ride it, or would you have other riders come ride it, or both? Or
both. Occasionally I'd ride it, but really since I started doing it, I haven't rode on the motocross track I built in a couple years. So you gotta know both sides of it, really. Once you figure out one side, you kind of got to stick to it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I'm sure that building motocross track depends on soil type too, right? The soil composition.
Yes.
Kind of the same as we had the 101 rodeo guys that handle the grounds out there for the rodeo. And they talked about getting the right sand and soil composition. That way it wasn't too muddy. Should it rain, it would drain. Should it rain, you don't want to get the riders and stuff pissed off at you. That's the same on the motocross track. I told you I used to flag out there growing up.
Oh, yeah. I forgot about that.
And I was right after turn number one, you'd come out of the whole shot, come out of the gates, and you do a hard left. Then you go back around the north side of the track. Mm-hmm. Well, I worked that first turn, and sure enough, when those guys would come around, if it rained or if it was hot, and, they messed up and they gave us water hoses to, to keep the dust down. But if you really wanted to be a butthole, you'd really wet your area, pass a little jump or a little whoop-de-doo to make it muddy and crap. And the riders would complain. With all that talking about, back to that soil deal, I'm sure there's some type of soil prep that you need to do, or a certain type of soil that you all use building those jumps.
Well, we use what's there pretty much. We haul in sand occasionally. Just sand makes a good motocross track to an extent. If you have just sand, it's a nightmare to maintain because it just washes and erodes, and the bikes just completely tear it up. Here in Ponca, we got a pretty good mixture of sand and clay, so it packs good, and it'll make good ruts, what they call it, in the corners. So we're pretty lucky here in Ponca City. Not a lot of tracks are fortunate. like here.
Yeah, because this is kind of one of the, at least in the circuit that races here, the moto playground. This is kind of the lore of it, anyways. I don't know. I mean, I don't know anything about motocross, but I know this is kind of one of the bigger races, isn't it?
Yes, to my knowledge, it's I think the biggest in the besides Loretta Lynn's, the biggest in the United States.
Wow. So that's a big, I mean, to make that track right. I mean, because I've learned that any sort of like, whenever the 101 guys were on here, they talked about how big a divas the Cowboys can be and stuff. I would imagine, and from what I've seen on Facebook too at times, that motocross riders are probably also divas, if the track's not just right. Or
Oh, definitely. They're probably about the worst of the worst.
Oh yeah. Dude, so whenever you'd get, it was some of the bad riders too, but the stud riders, especially the guys that are second or third place, they're getting beat. Mm-hmm. Whenever they'd come by us, low life flaggers, dude, we would literally get, I can make up a number here, but it was maybe $20 a day for flagging each day, but you would get like a free hamburger for lunch. That's how they paid you. But when you're a low life flagger, what's a flagger, if anybody isn't aware of, if a man goes down on his bike or something, past a jump or whatever, you at least want to get out there and flag to let the riders know, hey, go around this guy. You get out there and let them know caution. Well, since you're a low life flagger, these guys that were probably second or third or getting their butts beat, they would find a reason to blame it on, something else instead of them getting their butt beat. So they'd come by and, hey, man, you need to stop watering this damn spot. They'd be cussing us guys out that made less than, $1 or $2 an hour.
Yeah.
Funny crap.
I believe that, man. I've had years. I remember one year it just poured rain. Oh, this was probably just a couple of years ago. I mean, I haven't really gone out there until the last 3 to 4 years. So, but yeah, it poured rain the night before and the morning of and all that. And they were bitching about, track maintenance and this. I was like, dude, it just poured rain. What are you supposed to do about that?
Yeah. So think about it, track maintenance, but you still, and you have like the lead flagger. My brother was like the lead, not a lead official, but he was a lead flagger over all of us little flaggers. But still, you got guys. I know nothing about motocross when I'm out there. You know what I mean? So how am I supposed to know what to maintain and what looks good and when to stop spraying the track? And
that's funny.
Well, you mentioned when it rains.
Pull that. Yeah.
Pretty much anymore. It used to tracks just shut down the race, and a lot of tracks still do. But here in Ponca City, we got a standing re-race no matter the conditions. So if it rains 4 inches the day before, we're out there in dozers pushing all the mud off the track. 2 foot of mud all the way around the track, and then re-ripping, chiseling, whatever it takes to actually get the track. Sometimes we'll have to go and do detours on the track around places that's actively standing in water, because if you got 2 foot of water over someplace, you can't do anything with it.
Yeah.
So there's a lot more to it, and a lot of people don't understand that. Yeah. The work it takes to do it, and then they still want to complain about something else. But it is what it is, and got to make it work. So
some people are just going to complain. I mean, you can't fix that. But it is amazing to hear that, like that, because these people, like most of them are not rich people. Like they travel from, golly, because they'll stay in my Airbnbs and stuff, and they'll travel from all over the country. You might be wrong. I think they've got some money.
Yeah, a lot of them.
Be able to travel and do that kind of lifestyle and whatever.
But some of them do, but I mean, some of them, like I've talked to them, and it's like, I don't know what they do exactly, but they make a lot of sacrifices so their kids can do it,
I think they were just trying to get a good deal on the Airbnb to make you drop the price. Hey,
we don't never drop the price, dude.
We don't have a lot of money, dude.
That's one of those weekends you hike it a few bucks. You know what I mean? Because they're all full. But
you telling me you're price gouging during the motocross season?
Not gouging, supply and demand, buddy.
Man, dude. there's laws against that, man.
Yeah, I'm not jacking it up $30-$40 a night. I'm jacking it up like $10 a night. I'm making like $30 extra that weekend. But no, I mean, these people travel from all over the place, and I mean, so the fact that if it rains all night the night before and the morning of, you guys are out there just giving it hell, trying to make it, at least rideable So that way they're not wasting their time and money for traveling down here.
Right. And it's not just pushing it off. You got to push it all back on too.
Yeah. Jeez, dude.
They're unsung heroes.
Yeah.
Man, if I remember right, now that I'm thinking about it, we used to take diesel fuel and pour it out, you know, the spots that were super duper wet. They didn't push it off. They'd take diesel fuel and burn the stuff to try to dry it up quicker.
You didn't do that. That was a previous track that you saw, right?
No, it was ours. I remember that.
Yeah.
I've never seen that one done before, so I don't know about that.
I could see where that would work, but dude, especially now that you've got like a company and everything, you're not just some volunteers. Dude. If DEQ got a hold of that, you'd be fucked.
No, I wasn't accusing him of doing that, but I do remember that was in the past.
Dang, dude, that does sound like some old school stuff that somebody did. There's some dude that moved dirt in the 60s or 70s, like, oh hell yeah, just pour diesel fuel on the ground, light it on fire, and they'll dry that dirt right out. He probably did that all over the highway when they were building I-35 or something.
So where does a lot of the soil that you use, whether it's at the motocross track or the work that you do, where does that soil come from?
Well, at the motocross track, there's a couple ponds out there. You know, you basically cut and fill. You take from one spot and put it to another. Push up around the jumps. That whole property's in the floodplain, or most of it. So that's kind of why it's a motocross track, because it's in the floodplain. So you're not really supposed to haul dirt into a floodplain. But off of jobs, we try to, on our projects, you know, take dirt from one job and take it to another job, you know, because they're paying you to haul it off, and somebody needs dirt, so they're going to pay you to haul the dirt to them. So that's kind of what you try to do as much as you can. Now, that always don't work out like that.
But ideally, you use the native dirt, the dirt that's somewhat close to where you're working. I mean, that's the ideal.
Yeah, that's the cheapest and fastest way to do anything.
Right.
That's awesome, dude. Jeez. Just the art of it all, like that's so much stuff to consider. And then how often, like, do you ever rebuild the track or like redo anything, or is it the jumps are the same, you just rework them basically?
So most of the time it's just reworking them, because, you know, rain, erosion, wind even plays a role in it. The dirt washes down the hill and into the pond. You got to go push the pond out and push the dirt back up to the top of the hill where it belongs. Occasionally we'll do some, right before a motocross event, some rework, you know, take a jump and make something different out of it, level out some jumps, make a different corner, you know, minor. You gotta keep doing some changes, cause it, you know, makes it fun to ride. If it's the same every time, you know, there's not a new challenge, you know.
Wow. So that's where you got your start, was doing that. What age did you start helping your dad do that?
It was probably 10 or 11 years old. And it started small jobs, probably 12, 13, paying jobs, I should say.
Yeah. So did you spend a lot of time? I mean, because not very many people are going to trust an 11-year-old with a dozer and to go shape a motocross track. So how long did it take you to learn, okay, here's how it works and here's how you do it? I mean, you can teach a kid that. I mean, I know guys that were driving tractors and combines when they were 6 years old, you know, but at what point was it like, okay, yeah, Evan can shape the jumps and it's safe to ride and all that without me having to be on there with him or watch him or anything like that?
Well, that's a good question, because I really don't know the answer to that, because I still get yelled at for everything I do out there. So by somebody, it's about 30 different people that like to have their say in it. So,
oh yeah,
and they all have different opinions. So I don't. I'd say probably 14, 15 years old, somewhere around there, maybe 13.
So when did you actually? When did Stuever Dirtworks start?
So that would, I think the LLC was incorporated in 2018, if I remember right.
Oh, okay. So that's still I said it's 2024, isn't it?
Yeah.
Jeez, dude. I was like, oh, that's only been like 2-3 years. No, it's That's been kind of a while. So,
Yeah.
So at that point, when you started Stuever Dirtworks, what was the thought there? I mean, what was going on that you guys said, yeah, let's start a dirt company?
Well, I guess it started out as, have some fun, run the equipment, but now it's kind of turned into making sure everybody else can run the equipment and, they stay busy.
Yeah, but I mean, like, what was
it? Obviously started small. I mean, doing like you said, doing the what'd you say, the creek
Crossings, stuff like that.
I mean, it started off small
Small
and then,
stuff that really, if you mess up, it's not a $1 million problem.
yeah, whenever we were framing, we would always. The thought is, and this ties into is starting off small. Start on the back of the house. Get all your screw ups over with on the back of the house, because that way, by the time you get to the front of the house, you got it all figured out, right?
Yeah.
The same as starting off small with your little creek crossings and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. And I can see how, obviously, a lot of people don't start off up here with a business and a lot of work. They start off with the creek crossings, and one thing leads into another. And I could just see that's kind of how your stuff turned out, huh?
Mm-hmm. That's pretty much it. I mean, you can't start off doing something that you don't know. You kind of got to work your way up and learn from your mistakes. So
yeah, but I mean, like, what I'm wondering is, like, so you guys started Stuever Dirtworks. That was solely for you to run, right? I mean, that wasn't your dad going, well, I wouldn't mind starting an earth moving company. That was, you guys started that because, well, Evan likes doing this. We've got some equipment. Why not get paid doing it?
Right. I think it's more of a hassle for my dad than it is anything, really. So it definitely wasn't his idea.
Yeah. So you guys started that, and then you're doing these small jobs. Yeah, because at that point, you're 12 years old, 13 years old. You can't drive yourself to a job site. You can't move equipment. You still can't move your own equipment,
Right.
So,
well, yeah, guys hired to do that now.
right.
But,
Yeah, you got guys now.
Yeah, I think it was, before I got my license, I had a guy hired full time just to drive me around to the jobs and actually do the jobs. So he'd just drive the truck and, he'd, help labor here and there, grab a shovel and do whatever it takes. But, that was, I don't know what year that was, but he was working 80, 90 hours every 2 weeks. So
wow,
he was definitely full time.
Wow. So he was out there doing that. He was driving you to the job sites and helping stuff. But dang, dude, that's just so crazy to me that, like, I almost wish your dad was here too, just to be like, dude, what were you thinking letting a 12-year-old just, like, let it loose on, someone's house or creek crossing? Like,
Yeah.
Obviously it was, worked out and everything, but it's like most parents would hardly let their kid go ride a bike at 12 years old down the street by themselves, unsupervised, or cross the road or something. And here your parents are like, take the skid steer, just be home by dark.
Well, it wasn't home by dark most days.
Yeah.
It was from 7 in the morning till 10 at night. So
Yeah.
Well, I think that sheds a light on the importance of not only with his dad, your parents, and even my dad raising me with whether it's the parental, your parent or whoever's raising you, being there for you, showing you the ropes, letting you learn from hopefully their mistakes and your mistakes. And I mean, you're, like I've talked with James before, you're a direct reflection of your dad raising you, and look at so far what you've accomplished at your age.
Right.
I mean, for your dad being there for you,
Yeah.
and getting you on those job sites, getting you at the motocross track.
Yeah.
That's pretty sweet. At what time, I'm sure you and your dad, did you have a discussion to maybe take this and turn it into a business? Because y'all obviously had that discussion at some time, right? I mean, I know that you said your LLC was in 2018, but when did you? I mean, has this been a path that you always wanted to do?
That's a tough question to answer. It's always been fun to do. I didn't ever just expect it to turn it into what it has now, what it is today. Mm-hmm. And I don't think my dad did either, or anybody did.
Is this I bet this is something you probably enjoy, though. getting up and doing every day, right?
Yeah, it's something different every day. That's for sure.
You don't dread, God, dude, here we go again. I got to get up and.
Well, you wonder what problems you're going to have in a day and what you got to do to solve them. So,
Man, that's awesome.
And it's wild to me too. My camera froze up. It's wild to me too because, like I've seen your progression from the view of another contractor in town. You know what I mean? So it's been very interesting to see because like whenever I got in the business 6 years ago, I mean, Stuever Dirtworks was like not a very big deal. And, you know, then like even up 3-4 years ago, I was like, I need my driveway graded or something. I'd be like, you know, honestly, we don't have time right now, you know, but you know, you might call like Stuever, and I didn't even know you guys at that point. And, you know, stuff like that. I would do that, you know, it was just the smaller stuff. And now it's like, we are a subcontractor for you on a very sizable, interesting, intricate city job. And it's like, that is crazy to me. You know, that is so cool to see that progression. Like you're not just, you know, a few years ago, it was like, you know, from, you know, the other contractors and talk like that, you know, stuff was just, you know, if we have stuff going on, you know, we'll tell people to call Stuever and stuff like that. But now it's like, you know, you're just as big and capable as us bigger contractors in town. And that's something to be proud of, man. I mean, that's cool. I mean, that's really cool.
So when you're saying sub, so obviously he'd go and do the dirt work and then y'all would come in and do the asphalt. Is that, so you were subbing underneath them?
Well, the job we're doing specifically is he's the general contractor on it.
Right.
It's a brick street. They're putting a water line in. There's another contractor in town who's doing the water line, and he's also sub for Evan. And then Evan's actually doing curb and gutter. They're removing the bricks off the road first, and well, they're doing the water line first, and then they're removing the bricks, and they're pouring sidewalks and stuff like that, and then redoing the curb and gutters. And then Evan does all the hard concrete stuff and intricate little sidewalks and curbs tying into this old, those bricks are sitting on this old crappy 4-inch, very lean concrete base, kind of like a flowable fill, or probably not even that strong, honestly. It's like 100 and some old year concrete shit. And you patch that and then you lay 4 inches asphalt on top of that and you put new curb and gutters. And they do it all over the city with these old brick streets. And so we come in, we just lay the asphalt, and then because we can do our part in 4 days, you know, and then everybody else's part takes a long time. So
what do they do with all the bricks?
The city keeps them. They have a mountain of them, huge, tons of them. Don't ask for any.
They're gold to them. Yeah, they won't want you having any. They don't want anybody having them.
Surely you put a brick in your pocket every now and then when they're not looking, don't you?
It's frowned upon.
We have a little stack of them in our yard. Probably, I mean, there's maybe 50 bricks in this stack.
Yeah,
dude. The amount of people that will come to us, they're like, "Man, I just need some to fix my patio, or I need some, you know, just to fix this little deal, or I want these decorative, you know, these because they look cool. Those depression bricks, they look nice on a patio. My parents, their walkways, those little depression bricks." You know, so people come, it's like, sorry, we don't have any that we can really get rid of, you know, because we have to have them for if we are doing a job and we, you know, accidentally break something or trying to tie in and need a couple bricks to fill in or something like that, you know, that's what we use them for. But yeah, they're a coveted item in this town.
Yeah, I've probably had 10 to 15 people call me, you know, find me somewhere, follow me around. What are you going to do with all them bricks off that job? Well, you know, they're not, the city kind of wants them. So, can we have a couple? Well, you can talk to them. But, I mean, if we're not looking, I'm not going to say anything. But, you know, because there's thousands of them out there. But,
dude, you want to hear a funny story about those bricks? So years ago, I don't know what street it was. My boss told me this. This is probably in like the 90s. They're removing one of those brick streets. Whenever they first started doing these jobs, like we're doing here, it was in like the historic district somewhere, and the city put out for bid. All right, we're going to remove the bricks and we're going to lay asphalt back. They put it out for bid. We got the job. We, you know, getting ready to do it. Well, all these homeowners are upset. We want bricks back. We want bricks back. Those bricks are so pretty. Yeah, they, you know. We want to put the bricks back the way they were. So The city said, okay. They did an open commission meeting and all that. They said, okay, tell you what, here's the price that it was for asphalt. Go get a price for, and it was like, call it $300,000. I'm just throwing a number at it. I don't know what the price was. Call it $300,000. So the city says, we will pay for the price up to the asphalt. And then the homeowners on the street can pay for the difference. Well, they told my boss, hey, go get a price to redo this in brick. So he calls it, and he has to call these guys in like Illinois or something. I mean, because nobody's doing brick paving anymore. Have you ever seen the video? They call them brick printers. They stack them in there.
And this thing drives. Yeah, you see them videos.
Yeah.
Fun little videos like that everywhere.
Yeah. Yeah. So he found, some guys that had one of those machines like Illinois or something. They come back and their price was like, just to do the bricks, not even to do the prep work and all that, just to come and pave the bricks, it was like $1 million. So, the homeowners would have had to pay like $700,000 out of their pocket. So the city says, all right, homeowners, if you want it, you can pay $700,000. The city's going to pay the $300,000 that the original bid was. What do you guys want to do? And they're like, I think asphalt sounds pretty nice. And so what they did is they took the bricks off. The homeowners still wanted the bricks for whatever reason. So they took the bricks off and they evenly distributed a pile of bricks in every homeowner's yard. Those bricks are wild things, man.
But realistically, the bricks aren't the homeowner's property though, right?
No, I mean, they're the cities.
Yeah.
I mean, you find with like governments and stuff like that, or anybody really like that you're doing a job for, that if there's something salvageable off of a project, they want it. Like whenever we mill asphalt, dude, my phone rings and rings and rings. Can I buy millings? Can I buy billings? But if you're doing it for like the state or the city or somebody else like that, a lot of times they want the millings back. And cities especially. Cities always want the millings because they use them in their alleys. They use them to fix some certain spots on the roads and stuff like that. The state, they want them for the same stuff. They use them along the interstate, or they'll use them at, wide turns on the highway where people have driven off, or, whatever. They use them to fix stuff. I mean, a lot of uses for them. So anything salvageable, they'll take it if they can. Sometimes we get it, but it's rare.
But it's recyclable, right?
Yeah, and that's why we've been pushing lately for the state to give us the millings on at least a couple, split it halfway. You guys get some millings on jobs, we get some, and whenever you bid a job, you give them money back for the fact that you are keeping that material, right? So we'll keep them because asphalt millings are the number one recycled material in the world. We'll put them back in our asphalt mixes and put it back out on the road.
Right.
And it saves them money in both ways. It saves them money in the milling because now we get to keep the material. So here's a couple bucks back per ton. And then now our asphalt's cheaper because we got to use this recycled material that was cheap.
But like with anything, you just can't throw the millings down. You have to do the site prep, right? The ground prep. Make a good base before you just put the millings down, right?
Well, it depends. Are you asking a contractor? Or are you asking a city/county official?
No, I'm talking in general. If I had a trailer load of millings and I wanted to do something, I was just trying to make a point to where
I was making a joke like you should go out there and you should still shape the dirt, get it to drain, just like if you're doing a gravel driveway. I mean, if you have a gravel driveway full of holes and all that, you don't just go and slap rock on that. You fix the holes and you get it to drain and you do it right, and then you put rock on top of it. It's the same deal.
Yeah.
Now, some cities and counties don't do that. They don't believe in base prep. But that's all. I'll leave it at that.
Man, that on your whenever you do base prep pretty much for a lot of the jobs you do, right? You got to prep the ground.
Pretty much every job.
That's his bread and butter.
Yeah. So that's what we do.
Man, you have icing on a cake, right? Icing on a cake is like the final little deal, the sprinkle, but getting to where you're finally putting icing on the cake is where all the work is at. So prepping the ground, leveling, making sure it slopes right. The same as with prep work. Whenever I'm doing prep work, whether I'm doing remodels or whatever, the prep work is 75 to 80% of the damn work. Mm-hmm. And then the icing on the cake is the final, putting your asphalt down, just the top coat.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
That's exactly right, because it all starts with a good base.
Yeah.
And you can like look at painting something, whether it's painting a vehicle or painting a wall. If you don't etch up the surface good and clean it and get it ready for something to adhere to it, and you still have dust and particles on that, and you try to go ahead and spray something, it's just going to peel off,
Yeah. Well, you see it a lot too. I mean, dude, we've laid asphalt on bad dirt, and a lot of contractors get into this too. And if the dirt guy doesn't do it well, and sometimes it's, did the dirt guy do it right and according to plans and the engineer screwed up, or did the dirt guy not do it right and now it's bad, and you lay the asphalt on it or the concrete or whatever you're putting down, and it's falling apart. So no, it's very important that it's done right. Very important.
Yeah, but it'll cost you a lot of money if it's not.
Yeah.
It costs everybody a lot of money.
And good proper base prep costs a lot of money. I mean, to do on a road or something like that, to do it right, I mean, mixing in your cement and going deep enough and putting enough in, a lot of people don't want to pay for that because it's expensive, but it saves you a lot of money in the long run because now you're not having to maintenance that road as much because you have the right base.
Dude, out where I live, we have a nice concrete drive that goes all the way down, turns, and goes to my shop and everything. Well, love my house. Money. Oh, dude, love my house and all that, but here goes the caveat to it. The concrete in a lot of areas is literally only 3 to 4 inches thick.
That's pretty average for a driveway.
But it's over by my shop too. And you can literally think about 3 inches thick when you have any type of weight, like a trailer with some weight on it, a heavy load, and you're going. And a lot of that stuff is cracking and breaking and,
Yeah.
Just would have spent a little extra time, maybe with a good base, but also maybe just a little bit extra concrete. My stuff wouldn't be cracking like it is.
Yeah. Well, especially with concrete, a lot of times people don't want to pay to put rock underneath it.
Right.
Yeah.
Evans just has that look like, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, do you run into that like with homeowners and stuff? Like, I know that I won't. I tell people, I've had people tell me, well, you can just do it on the dirt.
Yeah. That's the point I was making was a lot of mine. I live in sandy loam soil, and I think it was just on top of sand, man.
Yeah.
And that sand washes out underneath, and it's all about the prep work to get into that icing on the cake.
Yeah.
Right. And a lot of people, you mentioned that, a lot of people don't even know there's supposed to be rock under the concrete or sand. Sand's acceptable too. But all anybody looks at's the quote, the number on the end of the quote.
Yes.
That's all that matters. They don't care if you can do it, 2 inches thick and your number's cheaper. A lot of people just say, okay, just do it like that. Mm-hmm. But yeah, that's how you get undercut on a lot of things. But if someone's like that, you really don't want to be working for them anyways. So.
Yeah. And that's one thing that I'm glad that I don't do concrete bids because like with asphalt, I mean, they call me and they call an out of town guy, but they're not typically going to be competitive. So I tell them I'm putting rock and I'm putting pavement on here and this is what it's going to cost. We're not going to give you a shitty job. But with the concrete, there's so many concrete guys around that, and you can call an out of town concrete crew because they can get concrete locally no matter what. I mean, you can't, I mean, anybody can buy concrete from the concrete plant. So it's like they can go in and you can get an out of town guy or a fly by nighter or something like that. And they might just say, yeah, the 2 inches, no rock. And somebody says, well, shoot, Stuever was $10,000 and Billy Bob Joe Thornton was $6,000. Shoot, I'm going to go with him, but I don't know. I guess you pay for quality. And I tell people that too. I can say, well, you can pay me the right price now, or you can pay a crappy guy and you can pay him and then you can pay me double to come fix his work. Yeah. And that's just something you kind of got to make clear with people.
Kevin, is there warranties on work that y'all do?
So on most city, federal, any sort of job like that, school system, you got a 1 year warranty and maintenance bond. So anything goes wrong within a year, you are obligated to go and repair it, do whatever it takes to tear it completely out and fix it. If there's any major defects or any sort of problems that arise. On smaller jobs, you can't really warranty a creek crossing because, frankly, you could have a 10-inch rain and it just washed the whole county out.
Yeah.
I mean, stuff like that you can't even put a warranty on because, frankly, you don't know.
That's what I tell people too. They always want to ask, well, how long is this going to last me? And I'm like, you may never have to touch it again for the rest of your life. It might last you 50 years. You might get a rain or something. It might take this whole some bitch out next year. You just don't know.
Yeah, Mother Nature is relentless. I mean, you can't. That's the same as, with leaks on roofs. You get a good turd floater or you get wind, just directional, just the perfect storm. It might leak and not flood, but it might create, a bunch of leaks in an area. And you might not even be able to replicate that when you're going back with the water hose or what. Dude, I don't know, but just the perfect scenarios,
Dude, we had that happen. So in 2019, it rained and rained and rained. 2020, I think we got a lot of rain too. What year did we have the really dry drought year? Was that 2021?
I can't remember.
I think it was 21. So like 2020, we had a lot of rain, and we had rain in the spring of 2021. So it was like rain and rain and rain and rain. It wouldn't stop raining. And then it got so dry, 100 degrees every day, hot. Well, dude, that we had all these new driveways and stuff that started cracking because they swelled up from all the rain and the soil underneath it, even with the right base prep. And then, I mean, like we had never seen anything like this before. Even my bosses who've been doing this, one of them for 30 years and one of them for 50 years, they dried out so much after all that swell. And, we laid it kind of in those rainy times and it just started cracking these brand new driveways. And it's like, shit, man. I mean, there's driveways we've laid that are 30, 40 years old and they've never cracked. And then here's these that are brand new and they're already cracking.
Imagine any void that you get in a surface. Moisture gets in there. Then you have freezes that are, 0 degrees for X amount of days, popping stuff out. Then spring comes, turd floater comes. It goes out in those voids that have just cracked out because of the ice. It's just a compounding problem.
Believe me, every homeowner with a crack in their driveway explains that to me. They all know. So, Evan, I got a question for you, man. You're 17. You've already graduated high school, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so how are you? Because you've been working full time since you were basically 11 years old, right?
Right.
Well,
not quite 11. It was probably full time, I'd say 15.
Okay, so you were like high school age, basically.
Right.
Okay, so how did you do school?
So when I was in, sixth or seventh grade, we'd go out. I'd go to school all day, then go out right after school and do a job, a small driveway job or whatever. And then the next day after school, we'd go do a different job, or if we got a big job, we'd do it on the weekends. Or I say a big job, it's a little job we might not even mess with now, but back then it was a pretty big job. You could do them on the weekends and try to do the whole job that weekend, work 12 hours Saturday and 12 hours Sunday. Mm-hmm. And then in high school, that would be ninth grade. I was in high school in ninth grade, and same thing in the afternoons. I go out and do a job, whatever. And then that was when COVID came around and everybody went to online school. And then, so that's kind of when, ever since that happened, I haven't went back. I've been doing online school since, and I've now graduated.
Huh. So you were in physical school until COVID hit?
Yes. Oh. Yes, I was in school all day until COVID hit, and then I think I finished out that year because then I went back to school. We was out for, 2 months? I don't even know how long it was now, but on online school because everybody was worried about getting sick. So, and then everybody went back to school, and I didn't go back. We changed to online school the next year. So,
were you loving that COVID time period? Were you like, yes, I can work more now?
Well, it was nice for that fact, but actually doing the schoolwork was a total nightmare.
Really?
Yeah, just because there's not a very good system to it at all.
So when you switched to online school, like full time, I mean, because they had a good system for that, what did your days look like? How did you still manage to do school and run a company? Because at that point, did you have employees, or was it still just you and your driver?
When I first started online school, I had one guy, and he'd go drive around with me all day, and sometimes I'd let him go run the skid loader, and I'd sit in the truck and do some, for 30 minutes, 45 minutes, do my couple school assignments, and then, but most of the time I'd just do it in the evenings. So I'd work all day, and then, work on an hour an evening, because really, frankly, don't take that long. So,
dude, that's crazy. Just the fact that you were doing that, because so I heard a story too. Like whenever you were in middle school, like you were doing small jobs and stuff like that, and you went to Lutheran, which I know that's a pretty strict no phone school, or at least it was whenever because I went there in middle school. But you were sitting there like taking calls in the middle of class and stuff, weren't you? Like,
yeah, I did it. I did it a couple times, and they frown upon that pretty bad.
You're sitting here like, listen here, I've got business going on.
Listen here, teacher, I'm making probably double what you're making sitting in this classroom.
History teacher, I don't want to mention his name, but he at one point in time said that if you guys don't pay attention in this Spanish class, that you guys are going to be out there digging ditches and, putting pipes in the ground. I made a comment, it makes a lot more than you do. You didn't like that.
You're like, actually, I'm not paying attention in Spanish. I'm putting pipes in the ground, and I'm doing a hell of a good job doing it, man.
Why is that the go-to? The go-to defamatory ragging on somebody? If you don't pay attention, then you'll be, behind a shovel.
I think it comes from a time before now, because it's like I had this conversation the other day. People say, well, how come Roman roads are so much better than roads now? They're still there. They're 1,000 years old or whatever, or how come buildings from 300 years ago are so much more stout than they are now? And I said, well, for one, materials were different. They were handled different. You could probably get a lot of them for free. Also, you had slaves. And so I think that back then, the guys that were digging ditches and, pouring concrete and building the roads, I mean, they were slaves or indentured servants. They were people that were doing the shit work, the tough stuff that other people didn't want to do. And now is the first time in history that blue collar people are finally getting paid what they deserve for the work that they do. And they're finally to a point where it's not slave labor, but it's still, especially in these older people's heads, people that were maybe around back whenever getting a college degree meant you'd get a pretty good job right out of college, but digging ditches meant that you were working for $2 an hour.
Yeah.
I think that's still where that stems from, is just that ingrained in your head.
So yeah, that's got the stigma, but it's proven now that you can make money digging ditches, right? If you're doing like what Evan's doing.
Yeah.
So the last one that still has the stigma, let's say that no more digging ditches is the rag, from the teachers. Mm-hmm. Flipping burgers is still the rag, right? Yeah. But if they double the minimum wage for flipping burgers, the burger flipper might be making more than the teachers here in a year or two. So
you don't know, man. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know why that's still the go-to, because man, there's money to be made. So, do you have any plans for like college or nah?
Haven't really thought about that a whole lot yet. I would like to do some sort of business school, but haven't really got that far yet. So.
Man,
yeah,
business sense though, you probably get a lot of direction from your dad, right, or your parents.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
I can tell you,
he's doing the on the job. This is what I'm talking about. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Does he? Now, if he were to go to college for that specific training for business, then I could see that. But he's a perfect example of putting in sweat equity and learning on the job. And
yeah, I don't know, dude. It's one of those deals. If you actually get to where you want to make that decision, talk to me, and I'll give you my thoughts and opinions on that, of what you're doing now versus if you went and did that. And I've got a friend who's a builder in town, and he went through college, and I don't know. He's got his thoughts and opinions on it too. But ultimately, are you going to learn anything there that you couldn't learn from reading books? Probably not. I would say, man, read some books. Read you 10 pages a day on some business books. And that's where I've learned most of my business sense. And I have a degree. You know what I mean?
Right.
You know, you can learn a lot more from that and just from the guys that have been doing it.
And also lean on people that you view that are uber successful in that type of business or whatever. And if you have any questions, man, just lean on them. You know, that's how you learn.
And what's cool about the contractors here in town, I would vouch for any of the major heavy civil contractors in town. I don't know all, you know, some of the smaller guys and stuff, but man, they're all just a wealth of knowledge. You know, they all know what they're doing. They've all done it a long time, and they're all just approachable, cool people. And I've, at least my experience with them. So there's some good guys in this town too that you can always talk to. But I want to hear more about like what your company looks like now. Like, so first of all, I'm curious, like are you the actual like can you legally be the actual owner of it, like a principal?
I am part owner because we got an LLC, so we got two. My dad's majority owner. I think he's like 51%, and I'm like 49, whatever. But I do all the day-to-day operations and pretty much all the estimating, invoicing, take all the phone calls, go look at all the jobs, go sometimes do the jobs. I got guys that, you know, foremans, and I got about everybody that give them the plans to their job, and they go do it and tell me when it's done, and I'll write the invoice up.
Yeah. Huh. So you're not out there working all the time.
Well, not all the time, but probably half the time I am. I fill in when somebody's not there, or when there's something super complicated that, you know, I don't want screwed up, I'll go out and do it myself.
Yeah. So how many guys do you have working for you at this point?
At this point, I think yesterday we had six guys. Yeah, six guys. But right now we're in our slow season. So, but during the summer, I got about 6 part-time guys that help us, well, up to 40 hours a week. So in the summer, this summer, it looks like it's going to be more because we got quite a few projects lined up. But in this, you know, full-on working season, 12, 13 guys. That's we're about feel comfortable at. Much more than that, that's a nightmare to manage.
Yeah. So with 12 to 13 guys, is that like, are you picking up temps, or is it just you hire some guys on that only want to work in the summer and they have other
it's
jobs?
Guys that just want something to do, that have experience doing it. You know, older guys, maybe 60 years old. I say older, but
That's older.
yeah.
So it's just guys that they don't want to work all the time, but they want to work sometimes.
They're on, you know, the old operators, stuff like that. And then you'll find guys that just want to go out and make a buck, and then you find some guys that's 30 years old that don't want to work all winter. They want to work in the summertime. I don't, you know, understand it. Then you'll find the guys that'll show up for 2 weeks, and you won't see them for a month, and they want to come
or
back.
ever again.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's cool, man. So I didn't realize that you kind of shrinked and swelled like that. I thought you just had like your 5 or 6 guys, and that's just, you kind of kept them year round. But
Yeah, well, all our main guys, they work 40 hours a week no matter what. If it's raining, they're doing something, painting in the shop, you know, fixing something. And there's always something to do.
yeah.
There's never not nothing to do.
So your dad was telling me about that too, because your guys really like the way you do like winters and stuff like that. Like he said that you picked up a lot of your guys in the winter a few years ago,
Right.
and they've been with you ever since. So that's always a struggle for construction companies, is keeping guys in the winter, you know, even if it's like you're saying, painting the shop or doing stuff around, you know, piddly stuff. But what are you doing specifically to keep those guys around all season?
Well, in the summer, they work a lot of hours, and then in the wintertime, they get 40 hours every week. Now, that's if they're available to work. If they're going to sit at home and not come to work or nothing, yeah, they ain't going to get paid for that.
Right.
But I got so much, I guess, junk that needs fixed. So that's how, most of our guys we picked up in the wintertime, and because a lot of companies won't work them in the wintertime. They'll, lay them off or whatever, and then they get tired of sitting at the house not making any money or very little money. And
so you basically guarantee them 40 hours.
Pretty much, yeah.
So how do you, because that's hard to do too. Like I can tell you in this last month, it's been slow up until literally this week when it's been 60 degrees. But the weeks before that, it was cold and icy and snowy and rainy and cold again. And it was a pretty miserable few weeks. So that's a month of paying 5 guys 40 hours a week to stay doing it. What do you have to do year round to prepare to do that?
Well, you got to make sure that you're prepared to not do nothing pretty much whole month of January. Sometimes some of February. December, you're trying to just finalize other, deals, work when you can.
Yeah.
But during the summer, you got to be going at it every day, weekends, whatever, to make sure that, you can sit at the shop all winter if you have to.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I found that out with my equipment. I'm just me, myself, and I, but with my spraying equipment, with my mowers, my chainsaws, and all that stuff, a lot of times in the heat of work during the whole year, a lot of stuff I kind of limp by with Band-Aids or duct tape or electrical tape just to get the job done. But then in your off season, the downtime in the winter is when I repair my stuff like that.
Right.
It's a good opportunity to do it,
Yeah.
We try to make sure all our stuff's fixed up. We'll go through it pretty much once a year. Make sure there's nothing that, you can foresee that can go wrong. Now, you always have stuff go wrong, break, whatever. Mm-hmm. But so when we're on the job, because downtime's a major issue, you're on a job, you get one machine down that could shut 2 other machines down. Then next thing you know, you got 5 guys sitting there looking at it, wondering what to do, waiting on a part that's not going to be here for 2 weeks because it's on back order.
Yeah.
So you all pretty much do your own repairs, your own mechanicking on your equipment?
Yeah, pretty much 100%.
So,
it's very rarely we send anything off.
Yeah. Which you actually, you and I were talking about it the other day, you bought, is all your equipment kind of pre-def or?
Pretty much. We got a couple, our dozer has def, which that's been a nightmare. It's been into, it's finally got itself straightened out. It has 1,600 hours on it now, but it started with 700 hours, and it was in the shop the whole year of 21, pretty much. It was in the shop more months out of the year than it was on the job. Mm-hmm. And we finally got Cat to just give us a loaner on it, and we had their loaner. We put 100, 200 hours on their loaner because it was in Warren Cat's shop in Enid. Then in Tulsa for 7 times that year, and then 2 or 3 times the next year. Wow. And it was every time you run 20 hours and quit. You run it up on the trailer and it'd quit. And it limp mode, you couldn't do nothing with it. You had to push it on the trailer with another machine. So we tried to get away from that as much as we can. It's just such a hassle. Speaking
of that dozer, dude, I know we're changing conversations here. Weren't you, what were you, 15, 16 when you got that dozer?
Yes.
There was a whole article in the paper about the fact that you had bought that dozer.
I believe it was when we was doing that RV park on Hubbard Road. Yeah. I think so.
Yeah, I remember that. It's dude, you were the talk of the town. People were this kid is 16. He's not worried about a first car. He just got him a damn dozer. That's awesome, dude. I was about to ask you another question about it. Oh, so what is your equipment spread now?
Well,
you're straying from your mic again.
I can give you a list. But I think we got almost 50 machines, from small plate packers to, graders. We got a grader now, scraper, dozers, skid steers, semi trucks, lowboys, dump trucks. We got a man lift, tractors.
Oh yeah, we use that man lift, dude. Yeah, we
used this thing in
this big ass table we're recording on. Yeah. I called your dad up one day, and I was it was at the Chamber of Commerce building, and I was we were shit, man, we got to rent a man lift or something to get this up here. And I saw that. And I saw your logo on it, or I think it was the Moto Playground logo on it. And I was like, oh, shit, I know whose that is. So I called your dad up, and he came, and he let us borrow it for an hour or something like that to get it up here. Dude, I forgot about that. We gave you a big shout out on the show that day. I was like, hell yeah, they're the sponsor of this show.
The logistics to get this thing up here, we could take the legs off, but we couldn't go up the stairs and turn the corner. That was too tight. Mm-hmm. So the only way we could was at the rear of the building. There's all these power lines and stuff, but there was just enough room that we put this bad boy up there and luckily humped it in here.
Yeah, dude, that man lift was a hoss, dude.
Yeah.
That's a hell of a man lift.
Yeah, it don't like the mud. We had to pull it out yesterday out of the mud, let a guy use it, and he left it stuck. But we got it down there in Elm Street. They trimmed up some trees with it yesterday. But,
I've got video of James taking that back to where we got it. He didn't have a hat on. The wind was blowing through his hair.
Yeah.
And I think I was singing like a Creed song because it looked like a rock. It looked like a rock video with his hair blowing in the wind while he's driving it down Grand.
Yeah.
Looking like Fabio on the man lift. Yeah. No, dude. So you got, because you got a couple dozers, but yeah, I forgot you got a grader, and then the scraper as well. Mm-hmm. So that's pretty big time, dude.
Yeah. Well, I like buying junk, so buy a bunch of old junk, fix it up.
Yeah. Have you gotten your scraper running? I know last time we talked,
it runs. It's 100% now. It's ready to go out on the job. Never gets dry enough. So, we got that curb machine now in the shop running through it. So
I'm excited to see that thing moving, man. After you've told me, because that just sounds like a big ass curb machine, dude.
Yeah, it's a big one. It's one of the big. I think it's the biggest you can buy. The slip form for curb and gutter. So
yeah, I'm excited to see that thing run, dude. That'll be cool, especially if you get on a job where you're paving a roadway or something where you're doing both the curb and the road at the same time. That sounds pretty cool.
Yeah.
So yeah, dude, that'll be neat to see. I don't know, it's just cool, man. I know that I'm sure, do you have goals of things that you want to buy, equipments and stuff, or is it just you find deals and you go, yeah, it'd be good to have, we could probably do that and fix it up? Or
mainly just find deals. I'm bad at looking at auctions, so find me, you can, something that's broke usually, or something that needs some work that you can get for cheap, or try to get for cheap.
Mm-hmm.
You ever see that guy Diesel Creek on YouTube?
I probably have.
He does that. He's got a great YouTube channel, man, but he'll do auctions and get super duper good deals for kind of the same as the Diesel brothers when they get stuff for cheap, then they go and rehab it and rebuild it. But that Diesel Creek guy will buy just a ton of just old diesel equipment or whatever, and he'll just step through troubleshooting where he starts. And it's just a really good put together production. Next thing you know, he gets these bad boys running, after some work. It's good to see just the old machines come back to life.
Right. Dude, and what is your scraper? It's an 80s, isn't it?
79. And
it's a cat?
Yeah.
Dude. I feel like those are just, you still see so many that are that year out there.
Yeah, I don't think these new ones will be running. This one's almost, I think it's 79 model. I think it's 45 years old. I don't think you'll see these new ones running that long.
No, dude. I don't think you will either. And you look at the operator's manual between those and then the new ones, dude, those tell you how to do everything in them.
Yeah, they do. They'll have a complete breakdown of everything.
Yeah, dude, it's sweet how they do that. And then these ones now, it's just okay, this happens, call a technician. If this light comes on, call a technician. If this happens, call a technician. You're wait, just tell me how to fix it.
Well, I think the whole parts manual on this machine's an inch thick.
Yeah.
On the new ones, are probably, in total, probably 3 parts manuals and 12 inches thick.
Yeah. Dude, that's so cool. And those are just cool to see too. I love watching those old scrapers run, especially when there's multiple on a job. Whenever I was doing earthwork testing, there'd be a lot of jobs where, there'd be 10 of them on a job or something. Right. And you just see all the black smoke everywhere. Yeah. Just, the noise those things make, those old scrapers and blades out there on some of those jobs. It just, dude, I was like, this is beautiful. This is a beautiful sound.
Evan, did you ever hear the story of the killdozer?
Yeah, I've seen that.
Oh, you have?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I've got an update on the little killdozer story.
Oh, does it have to do with the guys that bought the one and they're redoing it?
Yeah, Whistling
Diesel?
Whistling Diesel.
Yeah.
You heard of Whistling Diesel?
Yeah, I've seen him on YouTube.
Yeah, well, he just did a deal where he looked and there was only one or two. There was one in Australia and I think one up in Idaho. It was the Komatsu D355A was the exact killdozer.
Yeah.
So he went up there and he documented it, on his YouTube channel. He bought it and got it going, and he kept hinting around. Yeah, I've got to go to Alabama, but we're going to take a little detour first.
Yeah, dude, he drove it through Granby.
Yeah, so but it's pretty cool. So he went through Granby where the killdozer incident happened.
Right.
And while it was on the trailer on the way, he actually did a really good boots on the ground interviewing people, from the shop that was tore apart, then the cement plant, then the newspaper. He'd go in and actually ask people if they were still salty about the killdozer. And then he brought up to the news people, well, I was curious, how would y'all feel if the same type of bulldozer came through town? That wouldn't be. So anyway, they gave authorities the notification that, this same killdozer was going to be driving through town. And anyway, it's hot and fresh on YouTube right now, man.
Yeah, I've seen some of the stuff on Instagram. That's crazy.
So you ever thought about doing that if somebody wronged you here in town? The town officials. Next thing you know, you're buying 1-inch thick steel plate and welding it all around pouring concrete walls and getting him a 50 cal.
Maybe two.
Yeah. Dude, we're lucky to have good city officials in this town. But I don't know. I guess you work in other towns too, so maybe some of those other towns would wrong you. Good get you. But you don't run Komatsu. Or are you partial to any brands, or do you just
not really. Most of our stuff's most of it's Caterpillar, but we had John Deere track hoe. On small stuff, Kubota is about the best you can get, I believe.
Yeah, I like Kubota skid steers.
Yeah.
That's cool, man. I'm just enamored by it all, dude. It's just crazy to me how, at your age, you've built this deal and scaled it, and now you're really getting real work. I mean, good, big, sizable jobs that people see and notice, and that you'll drive on. It's not just somebody's driveway that you do it and you damn near forget about it. You might drive by it every now and then and go, man, we did that. But now it's like, like Elm Street. You can drive down Elm Street or drive by Elm Street and be like, we did this.
Yeah.
Hell yeah. Yeah, that's cool.
Have you ever had any issues with utilities?
Yeah, you find utilities in every job. Unmarked ones, ones that's marked improperly, wrong spot, guessed where they're at.
Right.
It's just part of it.
The best line locator is the bucket of an excavator.
Yeah.
You'll never miss it with that.
No.
Have you ever had any like scary utility calls or just really big, expensive mistakes?
Not really on utilities. I mean, there's been down power lines, hit underground electric lines, unmarked stuff. We've hit on Lake Road that rural water district main line because they guessed where they marked it before. The locator just went and put flags in the ground thinking, well, this is where it's probably at. And he was digging for an electric line right by a power pole and took the excavator and started digging, and right by the power pole, like a foot away from it, I thought I hit a piece of concrete, so I took the bucket and started trying to bang it and, get the rock out there and busting a hole through the 6-inch concrete line.
Oh, shit.
Yeah.
That's a mess.
Yeah.
Dude, hitting a main water line is wild. And whenever you hit it, it's like you're at a water park all of a sudden. You see water shooting 50 feet in the air. It's crazy. Oh, man. So, one of the more public issues that happened on one of your jobs I want to ask you about is whenever you were doing prospect. Was that your first like city job? Like,
no, it wasn't the first city job. We'd done other stuff for them before. That was the first large one.
Okay. Well, whenever you were pouring concrete, Was that on a Saturday or Friday? Well, some lady decided to drive through it, didn't she?
Yeah, yeah. When it went between our barricades somehow. She had to go over the curb to get around our barricade, so she ended up jumping the curb, then through our fresh poured concrete, and she got about halfway down the strip that we was pouring and started sinking.
What? Did you ever catch the lady? Did you see her?
Oh yeah. She was all of what was there of her, I guess. But,
Was she stuck? Like, did she just get stuck and you pull her out?
We shut her down before she got that far, but we was pouring high early, so she kind of was just leaving small car tracks, and she got about halfway down where we was pouring that day. And then you could see they started getting deeper and deeper and deeper, and 3 or 4 guys jumped out in front of her, and Nathan, the city inspector, jumped out in front of her and got her shut down. And then she backed up right over the curb and backed into one of our Viber screeds.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Did she mess it up?
She knocked it over. She didn't get that far because she had jumped the curb. There's an 8-inch curb through there, too, so...
Yeah, dude, that curb on that road is intense.
Yeah.
What, was she on drugs or something? Did you guys call the police? Or?
Yeah, the police came out there and they did a police report. I guess she was living in the car.
Nah. Yeah, good luck getting any.
Yeah, the car wasn't registered. The tag was expired. I don't even know if it was her car or not.
Did she have insurance?
No.
Yeah.
No.
So that was just a mistake that you just had to live with.
Yeah, we went out there and tried to fix it the best we could. Now the concrete was already so hard you can't really do much about it.
Yeah.
So I mean, if you drive down it, you'll see some car prints, some car tracks, and it kind of just ends. But
dude, and that was well signed. I mean, it's not like, I've seen jobs where, and it happens on our asphalt, like while we're paving stuff too. Sometimes I saw it happen the other day. You have your cones and stuff. Well, people will be driving. Well, for whatever reason, somebody will go between a cone and start driving on the fresh mat that was just laid. Stuff like that happens. Right. But like that was one of those deals that you had to really be trying to get between those barricades.
Yeah, well, she hit that one and jumped the curb, and I don't know. But she wasn't all there. But
was that on a Saturday?
No, that was on a Thursday or Friday.
Yeah. Because I kind of remember. I remember your mom posted it on Facebook or something. But I was impressed by your crew. I didn't know you guys were still on site. I thought you were kind of like done for the day and it was just curing. But you guys were still out there when it happened.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah. We were still pouring.
Oh, so it was like mid pour.
Yeah.
Oh,
we was still. I believe. Yeah, if I remember, it was still pouring. We had like 190 yards down, and we had like 20 or 30 to go. And then this happened. Ran back to the shop and got the power trowel and tried to. It was already to the point. If you could have, just do the minimum you can to get the tracks out of there because it was too hard. It was just going to make it slick if you tried to do too much to it. So
yeah, high early in the middle of summer.
Right. Yeah. And luckily, I think that day it was overcast. So
yeah, dude, that's terrible. Like. Because that would have been bad if you couldn't have gotten it at least rideable. It's that would have been. I don't know. I don't know if that'd be who would have paid for that, but somebody would have. If that lady didn't have insurance, who would have paid for that mistake? But that's good, man. I saw that on Facebook and I was like, man, that's literally the. That's where like I think blue collar people need more credit is the fact that this lady drives through that. They're pouring and stuff like that. It's already set up, but these guys like rushed and had the skill and the knowledge to at least get it.
Yeah, they was all
good
down.
enough.
They was all down on their hands and knees, doing all they could, trying to get it with boards, shovels, or picks, rakes, everything.
Yeah, that's all you can do. That's wild, man. Have you ever had anybody else drive through your concrete before?
I don't believe so. Not like that.
Yeah. Hopefully that never happens again. Yeah. People are stupid, man. Especially the general public in traffic. So what's I mean, do you have any grand plan or vision, or are you just taking it day by day at this point?
Well, it's pretty much day by day. There's really not a whole lot that I don't think we can do. So
Yeah. I mean, are you going to look at doing more, if you grow or scale, like, are you going to look at doing stuff out of town and traveling, or are you going to try and stay home every night? Or?
I haven't really thought about that a whole lot. Going out of town is kind of a hassle.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, because you work surrounding towns. Like, I know you go to Enid some and stuff like that. And, stuff you can do in a day and come back.
Right.
So, but you're not too interested, at least now, for, doing, staying in motels and doing that whole shtick.
No, not. It'd take a pretty good opportunity to do that. So.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the crazy thing. But man, that's cool. Yeah, so I like that, man. You're just kind of like, it'll be what it is. We'll make it happen some way. But you're just day by day right now, and you got a lot of years in front of you. So, I mean, you've done this in 6 years. How much? I do want to know, like, how much say does like your dad still have in some of this stuff? Like, I know you're making most of the big decisions and stuff, but I mean, is it just you guys just talk about it and you tell him what you're thinking and he gives you his thoughts, or is it like
pretty much?
Yeah,
pretty much. I mean,
because he's not. I mean, because he doesn't do like any of the day-to-day stuff, but I mean, just as far as growing and scaling, I mean, you have him as a guidance, obviously, but you're calling the shots.
Pretty much.
Yeah,
because he works all day, every day at the eye clinic. Well, during the week. So.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Awesome, man. So, any advice or words of wisdom you'd give to any other person? I mean, we get kids all the time that are 14, 15, 16, 17 that are looking to get get a foothold in the industry, not even necessarily start their own company. I mean, I know that's what you've done starting whenever you did is definitely an anomaly. But would you have any words of wisdom to any of these younger guys that would want to look at getting into the industry?
Well, you got to do your best, but anybody will give you a chance, but you got to make the chance count. And, just listen and do your best. I mean, there's a wealth of knowledge out there just watching somebody else do something that knows what they're doing. Mm-hmm. And if you can just pay attention and do what someone else says, and that'll get you a long distance.
Yeah. That's good advice, man. Show up and work hard, pounce on those opportunities because yeah, I mean, they don't come around.
I like what he said. He said, make that chance count.
Yeah.
So if you do, I try to do this also. If you do have, I always let you know, thanks for the opportunity. I always sign off with that during my invoices or communication. Mm-hmm. But if you do get an opportunity or a chance, make the best of it and make it count, man.
Yeah.
That was a good little word of advice.
Yeah, dude. I see a lot of guys that get into the industry because they want the money and they have the glory of the images of, oh yeah, I'm an equipment operator, I'm gonna be out here loading trucks and running an excavator, fast paced all the time, and then they get out there and they're flagging traffic for a while, or they're digging, they're doing the hard stuff, the grunt stuff for a while, and they can't show up on time. They miss, like you said, you might see them for a week or two, and then they call in sick every other day, and then they show up for a week or two and they call in sick every other day. They get these chances, but then they get mad because they're not getting promoted. But they're not getting promoted because they're not making those opportunities count.
Well, think of the words of wisdom with Eminem on that one song. He says, you only get one shot. If you take any opportunity or chance, any job that you get, try to keep fresh in your mind that, hey, this is my one shot. Mm-hmm. And if you go in with that type of mentality, don't just get complacent thinking this is just another job, man. Treat it like it's, your first opportunity to make it big.
Yeah. Definitely. Well, cool. I'm sure that I could ask a million more questions, but
we've got to get him and his dad in here together.
I think that'd be cool, man.
That'd be a good one too.
I think that'd be cool with both of you guys because I'd love to hear your dad's perspective on stuff too. you know, he's a cool guy for
Unless
sure.
if you don't want him, which I get it, man. It's all good. That's a sour subject.
Yeah, he's like
No.
turns out he's like, yeah, my dad and I haven't been in the same room for 10 years.
Yeah.
No, that's not the case. Cool. Well, Evan, I got to ask you the question we ask everybody. I damn near forgot. What's the dirtiest job you've ever gotten yourself into?
Oh, the dirtiest job, like where you get the filthiest and just nastiest. Or
Oh yeah,
probably working
Here, get
on our own stuff, mechanicking on our own equipment. That's probably about the dirtiest you can get.
just doing the mechanic stuff.
Yeah.
Is there any times in particular you can think of that you were just like, geez, what did I get myself into?
Well, it's about every day whenever I'm at the shop because it's always under something. Everything, it's just filthy. It's all old stuff. Oil everywhere, grease under an engine. It's. I think the other day I'd say pretty dirty, but I wore my clean clothes today. So I could show you some of my hoodies and pants, and I wore a clean hat too. But most of the time, if you see me out and about, I won't be wearing clean stuff because I'll be doing something. And frankly, if I wear this shirt for one day, it'll be looking kind of just polka dot brown by the end of the day. So
Hell yeah. Yeah, that's proof right there. Whenever people say kids don't want to work, I say, nah. Look at this guy right here. That's cool, dude.
You said he's an anomaly, and I totally agree, man.
Yeah,
It's kick ass what you're doing, bud.
it really is. I look forward to seeing where you take this deal, and even if you stay the same size. But I mean, just like I said, just seeing you go from being the driveway guy to now you're a player. I mean, you're up there with all the other big guys in town. You know, there's nothing that they do that you can't. That's pretty wild to see, dude. I mean, it really is.
I'm going to talk with Evan about getting into the asphalt business. We're gonna go toe to toe.
You might have a little more pushback on that one, but I'll tell you what. There's a lot of dirt guys and concrete guys, but there's only one asphalt guy.
There you go. Start growing our hair out.
Nah, dude, asphalt, that's a whole different animal. You see a lot of dirt guys try to get into it, dirt or sometimes concrete guys, they try to get in the asphalt business, and some guys make it past that hump, dude, but man, it's hard. It's a hard business to get started in. It really is. It's harder because there's not a lot of small stuff you can do with asphalt to get started. It's kind of go big or go home, especially if you don't have your own plant, and the plant's $7 million. But cool, man. So did you learn mechanicking? Just like, I mean, because again, you talk about working on equipment. If I was talking to a guy that was 50 years old and been in the construction business since he was 15, then I would understand where you have that base level of knowledge. But being 17, working on diesel mechanics, is that like YouTube? Just guys in your shop teaching you? How do you learn that?
You kind of learn as you go. My dad's been a very good teacher on that, but he don't know everything about it either. So it's kind of just figure it out.
Just figure it out.
Use common sense and figure out what does what.
Nice, dude. Cool, man. Well, is there anywhere, do you have any social media or anything that people can follow you on? A website?
Not really. I got a website, StueverDirtworks.com, but I don't do Facebook or Instagram, none of that. So I don't have time to it. I think I have an account, but I haven't logged on, and I don't know. I don't even have it on my new phone. So
talk to me, man. We got to get you. If you want a good way for people to see what you're doing and grow and find employees, man, you talk to me. We'll get you a good Instagram account going.
With all the different things that you all do, if you had just a little bit of a social media presence, man.
Yeah. And even if you don't need it to get work, I mean, if you're not looking to necessarily pick up more work, if you just need it just to maybe find some employees and stuff, or just meet other knowledgeable people, it's a good place to be. And I mean, we get you going, and you could hire out somebody to take pictures and post them for you. Just get what you're doing out there so people know. I mean, especially man, with your story and your age, I mean, you have a lot of value to add to the world, and I think that's the kind of stuff that could need to be on there. So if that interests you, talk to me and we'll get you fixed up. So,
Alrighty.
cool. Well, guys, appreciate y'all listening. If you like the show, be sure to give it a 5-star review, share it. Tell your friends, send this to anybody who says kids don't want to work, and keep on rolling. Go challenge yourself today and do something hard.
By God.